Hare Krishna. So this is a special session where I will be answering some of the questions that have been received online. So question answer session on Bhagavad Gita. So before we get started, let us chant the Mangalacharan prayers. We always chant Mangalacharan prayers so that we can understand the topics of Bhagavad Gita nicely. So I will share my screen and we can chant the prayers. We will go to Veda base. Share screen. So this is Veda base. We go to Bhagavad Gita, introduction, and we Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutah Padkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhobhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So I have copy pasted all the questions on some PowerPoint slides. So I will show the slides and I will verbally answer the questions. So here is the first slide. And those who may be just listening to the audio can hear the question. I will read out the question and you are welcome to hear it. So this question says, I have given my own titles. Distraction of the mind. How to do daily karma with Krishna consciousness all the time. I'm trying to understand deeply how to apply it in my life, which means how to apply Krishna consciousness in my life. I start with Lord Krishna in my mind, but sometimes I will go to material world of thinking something about work, friends, parents, what to cook, what to clean, and then I will try to chant the name in the mind sometimes and again go to material world and so on. There are tasks I have to perform, daily tasks like others. So trying to merge both. So yes, this is everybody's struggle in Kali Yuga. There are so many tasks that we have to do. It is not a simple life. Our lives are complicated. We have to deal with so many things. And so we get pulled in various directions at the same time, simultaneously. So we have to kind of, juggle the balls, as they say, and keep all the balls in the air and not let them fall. So yes, it is a tough balancing act. And day-to-day activities must be done. Whatever responsibilities we have in the home, towards family, towards maintenance of the family, livelihood, job, whatever is there needs to be done. And then, however, in Kali Yuga, we must spend the rest of the time in Krishna consciousness. So when you are doing at a beginner level, when you are doing some other work, focus on that. At that time, don't focus on Krishna. At a more advanced level, or a slightly middle or mediocre, or not mediocre, medium, so we can say beginner, middle, and advanced. At a middle level, one can begin to think of Krishna even when doing day-to-day tasks. But at a beginner level, the best thing is to keep constant or consistent time aside for our Krishna bhakti, our sadhana bhakti. And at that time, try not to let other things occupy our mind. So first rule is good time management and good prioritization. So that is one point. Time management and prioritization. By prioritization, it means not trying to just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. You might be thinking why I counted till 20. Because sometimes we have too many priorities and we just put a ranking on them, but we want to do all of them. That is not prioritization. One key aspect of prioritization is to draw a line and drop everything below the line. So you have to drop. And this is not just a Krishna consciousness principle. This is a management principle. Also, you have to learn the art to say no. You have to know what to say no to. And that is where prioritization helps. The key to prioritization is make a list, prioritize it, what all you want to do in your life. Look at realistically how much time you have, add up the time, and when the time is over, 24 hours are done, draw the line. You cannot do more. 8 hours of sleep is important. Your job, whatever 8 hours, cooking, cleaning, whatever activities, try to keep at least 1 or 2 hours for Krishna consciousness every day out of 24 without filling in, packing too much into your schedule. So you need to learn the art to say no. That is first thing. And that comes from giving up attachments. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do that. We all want to do everything. The successful people in the world, even materially successful, have said no to many things in life. And that is how they get to be successful. Go and ask them. They have said no to many things. The unsuccessful people have said yes to everything, and they couldn't become successful in any one of them. Okay, so that, like it is said, jack of all trades, master of none. Try to be master of one instead of jack of all. So, and what we want to be master of is Krishna consciousness. That should be our highest priority. Or, at least right below our day-to-day, whatever urgent tasks, cooking, cleaning, job, livelihood, sleep. You cannot give up sleep. Otherwise, you'll become sick. Then Krishna consciousness. Okay, so that is point number 1. Now coming to some of the spiritual aspects of how the mind is distracted and so on. So I will show some verses. Controlling and focusing the mind is a big topic in Bhagavad Gita, especially chapter 6. So when the mind gets distracted, the very important principle is to bring it back. Just bring it back. Nothing else. Don't beat yourself up. Don't victimize yourself. Oh, I'm so bad. I cannot focus my mind. Why did my mind go away? Why cannot I keep my mind? Don't make yourself a bad person. Whenever you realize, oh, my mind has gone, bring it back. Oh, my mind has gone, bring it back. While it has gone away, you cannot do anything about it because you are unaware that it has gone away. The moment you become aware that it has gone away, just bring it back. Nothing else. Don't worry about the past. Water under the bridge, as they say. So treat it like that and bring it back. Focus on the present moment. Don't lament about the past. Don't worry about the future. Be in the present moment. So that is what Lord Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse number 25 and 26. Very important verses. So chapter 6, verse number 25 and 26. Shanai Shanai, you will see, gradually, step by step. So you see here, Shanai Shanai. So Shanai Shanai means gradually, step by step, slowly, slowly. So the translation, we will just read translation. Gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence sustained by full conviction. And thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. So of course, this verse is talking about fixing the mind on the self. But as you will learn, or you might have heard in chapter 6 discussions, all these learnings of chapter 6 apply equally well to Bhakti Yoga, focusing the mind on Bhagavan Shri Krishna. So this aspect of Shanai Shanai, gradually, step by step, applies to focusing the mind on Krishna as well. Gradually, don't try to become a Uttama Bhakta overnight, a topmost devotee overnight. Won't happen. Like Lord Krishna said, gradually, have patience, keep consistent sadhana. And then, as soon as you realize the mind has gone, bring it back. Yato yato nischalati manas chanchalam asthiram tato tato niyam yaitar atmani eva vasham nayet. So, from wherever the mind wanders, wherever it goes, due to its flickering nature, mind is like a monkey. It will go here, there, there. One must withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. Just as soon as you realize it has gone, bring it back. Nothing else doing. And like I said, even Arjuna says in the 33rd verse that controlling the mind is very, very hard. He says, 34th verse, very nice. Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramathi balavad dridham tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sa dushkaram. That the mind is four things: chanchalam, pramathi, balavad, and dridham. So you can see the meanings of all these. The mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna. And to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind. So even Arjuna is saying it's very hard to control the mind. Let's see what Lord Krishna says. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. First of all, he's saying asamshayam, no doubt. You are correct. Asamshayam mahabaho. Mana is durni and grahanchalam. Means it is durni griham and chalam. It's very difficult to control and it keeps going here and there. How you can control it? Abhyasena tu kaunteya. By abhyas, by practice. And practice comes with time. You cannot practice overnight. So, abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. By detachment. And this detachment topic is exactly the same as we discussed earlier. Prioritize, draw the line, drop the rest. The dropping the rest is very hard. We want to do everything. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I kept sharing the slides, but I wanted to share the verses. So let me just quickly share the Veda base right here. So this is 6.35, but I was saying the numbers of the verse, you can follow. So vairagyena cha grihyate. So that vairagya, that detachment need to be there from all the things we want to do. We don't want to give up anything. That is our biggest problem in life. So the moment you understand that, life will become simpler. And that time you can focus on, that much time you can focus on Krishna. So we discussed 6.35. Before that, we discussed the 6.34, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna. And before that, we discussed 25 and 26. 25 was this Shanai Shanai, that gradually, step by step, one must control the mind and bring it back. So it's a gradual process. Patience. You must have patience. And this 26 was Yato Yato Nischalati Manas chanchalam asthiram. That from wherever the mind wanders, Atmani eva vasham nayet. Bring it back. Vash, apne vash mein le aao. Just bring it back. That's it. So we showed these 4 verses. Okay. We will go to the next question. So here is the next question on killing pests. I tried not to do sinful activities, but in some circumstances, like at home, ants and small mice came. I brought some ant and mice killer from the store to kill them. For that, I have to suffer. Do I know how I get punished? Will I get punished in this birth or next birth, or Yamadutas will come and take me and punish? So that is the question. So, yes, I mean, if you are killing the mice or the ants, there will be some punishment, no doubt. There has to be some punishment. Now, I don't know how you will get punished. Only Yamaraj knows, Lord Krishna knows. So, all these things are very complex, and it depends on what was the situation and what was the consciousness, and so many things are there. And when you will get punished, that also is very hard to say. This lifetime, next lifetime, after that, how, when exactly, there is no clear answer. The law of karma is very complicated. Karmana gahano karmana gatihi, 4.17. It's very gahan, it's very deep, the law of karma. However, I think what is behind the question is what to do when there are pests. That's another very common question, FAQ, frequently asked question. So there are some, sensible answers to that question, what to do with pests. So first and foremost, try not to kill. So if the pests are there, try non-killing remedies. I live in United States of America, and here there is a chain of stores called Home Depot, where they sell all kind of home maintenance things. So they sell these kind of products. So if you go to that place in the store, you will see items that kill pests, and you will see items that drive them away, that repel. They are called repellents. So instead of killer products, buy repellent products that will repel them away. That is one thing. Second point is prevention is better than cure. Keep the house or whatever area clean. Pests come only when there is dirtiness or other things like that. So keep it clean. And it needs commitment to keep it clean. It's very easy to keep it, let it be dirty. So cleanliness is the answer. So there is effort required in cleanliness, just like there is effort required to be in the mode of goodness. It's very easy to be lazy and lethargic and all those things. And it takes effort to be a good person. And part of being a good person is cleanliness, shaucham, external cleanliness. Shaucham means external cleanliness and internal cleanliness. So in this case, external cleanliness. And the opposite is alasya. So that is given in chapter, let me share, 14, verse number 8. So we will go to 14.8. So here you will see pramada alasya. So pramada alasya nidra. Nidra means sleepiness or always sleeping. O son of Bharata, know that the modes of darkness born of ignorance, that is the tamas guna, tamasic nature, is the delusion of all embodied living entities. The results of this mode are madness, which is pramad. Indolence means laziness, that is alasya, and sleep, which is nidra, which bind the conditioned soul. So alasya. So you can either choose the alasya and keep You don't have to do work today, but you have to suffer the consequences later. Or you can put in some effort today, give up your alasya, keep area clean, and the pests will not come. And then you don't have to kill them. So you cannot have your cake and eat it too, as they say. You cannot have, everything. You have to either put your effort or you have to suffer later. And so these are the answers to pests. Okay, next question. Story of Maharaj Bharat. So we did a whole series in the Srimad Bhagavatam series on Maharaj Bharat. Can I have some water? Thanks. So the question is based on the story of Maharaj Bharat. So the question is, it is very, very hard during death if I can remember God's name or his pastimes or his lotus feet. When I told the story of Maharaj Bharat to my kids, they asked me, in the birth of the deer, there was any chance to make spiritual progress as it was a special deer? How the deer got human birth after that life of the deer? During death, if we think of a favorite pencil or item, what could be our next birth? Okay. So the question starts by saying it is very hard during death if I can remember God's name. So yes, it is hard, but it is not impossible. I have seen some people who are very sick, almost about to leave their body. In my own family, I have seen. And they have been lifelong devotees. And I don't know what was their last thought at the moment of death. Only they know and Krishna knows. But at least as long as they were close to death, maybe a couple of days before, they were, thinking of the Lord. They were, able to think of Krishna. It is possible, even though they were in lot of pain. So by practice, it is possible. So please practice. That is why lifelong practice of taking Lord's name is so important. Not only, it's not just for that final moment, even for developing one's consciousness in bhakti, it is very important. Plus, it helps in the last moment as well, both. Okay. So by lifelong practice, it must be possible. And then we should see in our own life, whenever we enter into distress or situations of misery or suffering, we should practice to use those moments. Death is also a moment of suffering. So during life, when we get suffering, it may not be as much as death. But at least in those moments, we can practice to remember God's name. That was one point, that it is very hard to remember God's name. By practice, lifelong practice, it should be possible. Next point was there any chance to make spiritual progress as a deer? So yes, that deer made spiritual progress. By the way, it was a special deer. And Bharata Maharaj was very much on his way to the spiritual world. He just made a small mistake of getting attached to a deer. For that, he had to take one extra life as a deer. That's all. So his next birth as Jada Bharat, as a great devotee, Jada Bharat, was guaranteed. So he was continuously making progress. And it is not that in the life of the deer, he did something special why he got the next body as a human being. That was already given because of his such strong practice in the previous life as Bharata Maharaj. And it was a special deer, yes. And it went back to the same ashram of Pulatsya Muni. He would hear the Krishna Katha by the saints and the sages living in the ashram, was living a very austere life, and so on. So that deer was a special deer. not every deer remembers their past life and is interested in these, even aware that this is spiritual topics and all those things. So it was a very special deer. If we think of a deer at the end of our life, we will not get that kind of deer's body. So, and the next life was Jad Bharat, where he was a great devotee, and then he went back to the spiritual world. Now, the last part of the question is favorite pencil or something. So that's very kind of, I think like a child is asking the question. Death is so painful, it seems. I have not experienced it, obviously. And there is suffering, and thinking of pencil may not be, may not happen. You may think of something else. Maybe you might have heard of the Citizen Kane example that I give, where he heard about his snow sledge called Rosebud. If that is the case, then the situation was in that movie, Citizen Kane, that person was very, very attached to his snow sledge. So yeah, it may be, you have to be really attached. Plus it was a Hollywood movie, so it's not from the Shastra. So who knows what one thinks at the time of death. So if you're very, very attached to a pencil, maybe you'll think about the pencil. Maybe you'll take birth in a pencil factory as an insect or something. I don't know. Anyway, so that's this question. Next question is effect of chanting the holy name. Chanting the holy name without thinking about material desires during working, cooking, cleaning, sleeping, on the bed, before bath, after bath, driving, will it all have the same effect? So first of all, yes, it is very nice to do chanting during all these other activities like driving or whatever is written, cleaning, cooking, taking a bath, or whatever. While working, I don't know. Working means if you are working like on writing a software program, you need to put your mind on writing a software program. So I don't know how you might think of Krishna. At least I would not be able to do that very strongly. Arjuna could do it. Mam anusmara yuddhacha. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddhacha. Lord Krishna says in chapter 8, 7th verse, 8.7. But we cannot do very such focused things and remember Krishna at the same time. But during using doing mundane things where we are just using our muscle memory, like driving, cooking, cleaning, we can definitely remember Krishna's name. That's very nice. However, we should keep specific time aside in our life to remember Krishna exclusively, with when we are not doing anything else, no multitasking, sitting in a chair or something like that, and or sitting on the floor and taking Krishna's name, doing Krishna Nama Japa. So that is very important. And rest of the time we can do this during other mundane activities. Now the question is, what effect will it have? So of course, the focused chanting has way more effect than when our mind is distracted in other things. There are 3 stages of chanting: Nam Aparadha, Nam Abhas, and Shuddha Nam. So we have discussed this in detail in 2 series on YouTube. You can find one is called The Power of the Holy Name, which is the story of Ajamil. Very, very, very powerful story. And it is based on 6th cantos, chapter 1, 2, and 3. And then the second topic we discussed was 10 offenses to the holy name. These are the 10 Nama Aparadhas. Aparadha. And when we chant without those aparadhas, then it is called Nama Abhasa chanting. So we should at least try to come to Nama Abhas chanting, if not the chanting with pure love, which is Shuddha Nam. So yes, chanting during doing these mundane activities definitely has very strong effect. and you should continue to do that. But it has more effect when you are doing it with focused mind, especially when there is no Nam Aparadha. Nam Aparadha can occur in both cases. For example, you may think, oh, I'm chanting while cooking, while driving, so I'm getting saved from sinful activities. Or if I commit sinful activities, I'm committing these other sinful activities. Because I'm chanting while driving, I will be saved. That is Nam Aparadha. So, Nam Aparadha can occur at any place. So, one must try to avoid Nam Aparadha, and then it has very, very strong effect. Okay. Next, reaction to or reaction of sinful actions done in the mind. Okay. So this question is about the reaction to sinful activities done in the mind. Like you think about sinful actions in the mind, but you don't carry them out. You think about something, oh, he's such a bad person. Tomorrow I will go and beat him up. You think of like that, but you never do that. You never go and even say a word to the person, let alone beating him up. It was only confined to your mind. That is the meaning of sinful action done in the mind. So the question is, as you mentioned that in Kali Yuga, we got a boon where if someone sometimes thinks in the mind jealousy or a maitri means animosity. Opposite of maitri or friendship is animosity. So jealousy and animosity, but never exhibited to anybody. So that it is not sinful action according to Kali Yuga. But according to Bhagavad Gita, Krishna does not like it if we have these qualities, even if they are in the mind. That is absolutely correct. You have the correct understanding. I don't see any question here, but I'm assuming your question is that, is your understanding correct? So yes, it is correct. Doing a sinful activity in the mind does not attract karmic reaction in Kali Yuga. This is a special discount in Kali Yuga that we get. Very beautiful verse is there in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 18, and verse number 7. Let me show you. So here we have Veda base, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 18, verse number 7. Yes, so this is the one. So this verse says Maharaj Parikshit was a realist, like the bees who only accept the essence of a flower. He knew perfectly well that in this age of Kali, auspicious things produce good effects immediately, whereas inauspicious acts must be actually performed to render effects. So he was never envious of the personality of Kali. So this episode is occurring when Parikshit Maharaj meets the personality of Kali Yuga. And Maharaj Parikshit is such a great devotee, he only sees good things in everyone. So even in Kali, which is such a bad person, he had beaten up Dharma and Bhumi so badly. Even though Maharaj Parikshit was seeing, even then the Maharaj Parikshit was seeing good things. That one good thing about Kali Yuga is that there is a big discount. You don't have to do, by thinking good things, you get the positive phala. You get the positive auspicious reaction. But by thinking of bad things, you don't get the negative reaction. You have to actually do it to get the negative reaction. Okay. So here, so by the will of the Lord, a living being does not become a victim of a sinful act until the act is actually performed. In other ages, simply by thinking of performing a sinful act, one used to become a victim of the act in other ages. So yes, this is a discount or a blessing or a boon, as was in the question of Kali Yuga. But Lord Krishna does not like it if we commit such sinful actions, even in the mind. So doing something illegal is different from doing something which somebody you love does not like. Okay, so there's nothing illegal from the law of karma standpoint to think about sinful actions in Kali Yuga. You don't attract sinful reaction. But still, Krishna doesn't like it. That is a true statement. Krishna does not like if we have these qualities of jealousy and amaitriya. So obtaining Krishna's love is at a whole different level than avoiding sinful reaction. Okay, so avoidance of sinful reaction is much easier. Just don't do bad activities. But obtaining Krishna's love requires more effort, and it requires us to not even think of doing bad activities, because Krishna has said in chapter 12, verse numbers 13 to 20, that he does not like people who think even bad things. Okay, very nice question. Next question is, family member's name is Hari. So this person is asking a question. Yeah. So my family member's name is Hari. All my family members used to call him Hari. So I'm trying to understand that whoever called his name, all their sinful activities are eradicated. So this question is coming from, Ajamil's pastime or that kind of discussion. While calling the name, if one thinks about that their sinful activities are getting eliminated, then that is a false chanting. True. That is called Nam Aparadha chanting. And if they call the name like how Ajamil called his son Narayan, without thinking about material desires or maybe sinful activities, eliminate, then it works. So yes, you are correct. Like Ajamil called the name of Narayana, of his son, it was Nam Abhas, which is the middle stage. But if one is thinking by calling the Lord's name, my sinful reactions will be eradicated, then you are trying to use the power of the holy name, or you are trying to misuse the power of the holy name. You're trying to take advantage of it. And that is called Nam Aparadha. That is one of the offenses to the holy name. So, but still, even in the Nam Aparadha stage, chanting has effect, but it has much lesser effect, and it takes very long time to have effect. But Nam Abhas stage chanting is very, very strong, and Shuddha Nam stage is the strongest. So at Nam Abhas stage, when one chants the Lord's name, yes, millions, not all, but millions of lifetimes. Now we may have trillions, billions, trillions, zillions, I don't know how many lifetimes of sinful reactions. But by taking the name of the Lord even once, millions of such sinful reactions are eradicated. So we don't know how many we have. Millions of sinful reactions sounds like a lot. But if you have trillions and trillions and zillions or whatever, put 10,000 more zeros, that many sinful reactions, then million is a very small number. So basically the point is, one should not misuse or think of misusing the holy name, that we have taken the holy name once. So right now we can take Hari. Everybody say Hari. Okay, now all your sinful reactions have been eradicated? No. Many, many millions have been eradicated, but we don't know how many there were. So the teaching is to chant the holy names of the Lord as much as possible. Satatam kirtayanto mam. So always kirtaniyah sada hari. So always, as much as possible, if always is not possible, as much as possible, keep chanting the holy name of the Lord. And it's not about numbers. Oh, 1 million down, 2 million down, 3 million. So you keep a count of how many millions. Then you are like a banker. Stock market went up. Oh, my bank balance, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. No, that again becomes Nam Aparad. You're using the holy name to keep a track of your bank balance, of sinful reactions. So that is Nam Aparad. So one should not think like that, but one should have the realization that it is not like a free check or a blank check. Therefore, keep taking the name of the Lord, at least at Nam Abhas stage, as much as possible. And to understand what is Nam Abhas, what are the 10 offenses, you can watch the series on 10 offenses to the holy name. And a very detailed description of this whole topic is given in Shri Harinam Chintamani by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Then next question is, if my daughter Lakshmi, if I call my daughter Lakshmi, the name of the daughter is Lakshmi, without thinking about material desires, then the holy name works just like Lord Narayana or Krishna? Yes. Calling the name of Mother Lakshmi's energy of Krishna, Shakti of Krishna. So calling the name of Mother Lakshmi or Mother Radha have the same effect as calling the name of Krishna or Narayana. That's why we say Radhe Radhe. In Vrindavan, nobody says Krishna Krishna. They all say Radhe Radhe. Okay. Next, human life. Sometimes I feel like how far I remember all this in this life, and one life is not sufficient. So I can continue in the next human life when it comes after n number of life. So what it means, let me see. Sometimes I feel like how far I remember all these, this life, and one life is not sufficient. So I can continue in next human life when it comes after n number of lifetimes. So not very clear what the question means, but I think what it means is that of this life and one life is not sufficient to make spiritual progress. So how will I remember or what progress I have made in this life and so on, and continue in my next life after n number of lives of some other species, lower species. So in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, so we'll go through some topics in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So we will go to library, we will go to Bhagavad Gita, we will go to chapter 6, where Arjun asks this exact question in 37. Oh Krishna, what is the destination of the unsuccessful transcendentalist? Basically, one who was not able to complete his spiritual progress in this life, who in the beginning takes to the process of self-realization with faith, but later desists due to worldly mindedness and thus does not attain perfection in mysticism or yoga or his spiritual practice. So Lord Krishna gives this answer. Very beautiful. So from 40th verse onwards, this is very beautiful, very confidence building portion. It builds a lot of confidence in that we are not on the wrong track. So the summary, so you can read from 40 to 45. Okay, very, very important section. So the essence of this section is the following. Okay. So let me make it smaller so you can see. Yeah. So you can, oops. So the essence of the section is that, first of all, spiritual progress is preserved. Whatever spiritual progress you make in this life carries forward to the next life. It does not happen with material possessions. If you had $1 million in this life, you will again start next life, who knows in what condition. If you are a PhD in this life, next life also, again, you will start from ABCD. You will not start from PhD. But if you made some spiritual progress in this life, next life, you start from there. You move forward. So Krishna keeps track of how much spiritual progress you made. Second point is that you don't have to seek out yourself, oh, how much progress I made. Krishna will make sure automatically you are attracted to spiritual life in the next life, and you continue from there. See here, it is written very clearly, by virtue of divine consciousness of his previous life, he automatically becomes attracted to the yogic principles, even without seeking them. So he doesn't have to go in search. Who I was in the past life, what was my spiritual progress, let me start from there. No, Krishna will make you start automatically. So, and then he makes progress from there. And this happens in the very next life, not after n lives. There is no middle n lives. After human life, another human life. So even if one is unsuccessful in spiritual progress in this life, next human life is guaranteed. And also what is guaranteed is spiritual progress from where you left off. You don't have to restart like ABCD. And the third thing is, it automatically Krishna makes it happen for you to start. For you to progress is up to you. That is not automatic, but at least he will give you a start. Okay. And then you can make forward progress, or you can fall down also, like Bharata Maharaj, he fell down. So that is up to you, but he will start you off where you left off. Okay. Next question. Oh, this is interesting one. My favorite. Inspiring children in Krishna consciousness. How to encourage family members to listen and chant Hare Krishna? Very good question. One of my children is in high school, so busy with school work and activities and so on. Now I am fully realized how important it is to give spiritual knowledge, but don't know how to encourage kids, since from the beginning we all used to go to sense gratification activities, sense gratification parties. They wanted to have their friends groups go to any get together, etc., etc. Yeah, all these things. So both kids are going to a spiritual program where they learn how to chant, but the meaning and understanding is very low. Any input on this is greatly appreciated. Okay, very nice question. So a lot of questions or points are being mentioned here. Oh, I didn't share. Let me share the slide. So here is the question. Sorry. So inspiring children in Krishna consciousness. I had read it out, but now you can see it. You can pause the video and read the question also. But it is the same what I read. So the answer, or a couple of points I wanted to mention. So yes, no doubt, it is much easier and much better to mold the children in Krishna consciousness towards Krishna, towards spiritual side when they are younger. Just like a pot of clay, when a person is making a pot, the clay is wet. You can mold it in whichever shape you want. Once it dries up, it is much harder, almost later on impossible. And if you try to put too much pressure, it might break. But still, it is possible. It's not that strong and brittle like clay. So the best thing that you can do once the child has grown up is to set a good example. By your own personal example, try to teach. Okay? Don't force them to do something. You do it. And even when the children grow older, they are seeing my parents are putting sincere effort in this. There must be something good. Even if they don't take it up now, they may take it up later. They may take it up after you are no longer there. But you should not have an attachment to see that they have taken it up. Even if they take up after you are gone, your commitment should be that somehow or the other they take it up. And I personally am a great example of that. My father was a very spiritual person, but at my young age, I was not very interested. And to be honest, my father did not very much, he was himself very spiritual, but he did not focus on me that much. He would get up very early in the morning, do everything. By the time I would get up to go to school, all his prayers and all his things were already done. And he was a very gentle man, very kind, very, not get angry, all the good qualities, very good person. I really admired him. And he always used to tell me, you must read Bhagavad Gita, you must read Bhagavad Gita. And I was like, yeah. So now it has been, after he passed away and all that, whatever, now I'm teaching Bhagavad Gita. So I'm sure he must have been very happy if he saw me, but he never got to see this side of me. So, but I still remember that who he was, and he was a great inspiration in my life in that sense. So yes, he did contribute, but through his example, through his actions, he contributed. And I thank him for that. So you can also set in a very good example by your actions. Much better to give them also. Don't just stay with actions, but it becomes harder as the children grow older. And when they grow older, you take up spiritual life and you share with them like a friend, like you would share with your friend. Like, oh, I have taken up this spiritual life. Here is what I was going through. And now these are the changes. Genuinely develop those changes. You cannot fake it or, pretend. Genuinely develop those changes and share it with your child like a friend, your adult child. They may see, they may see that. I was just talking to somebody, in fact, today, and they have an older child, and they were sharing with me that their child shared with them what positive changes they are seeing in their parent. So the child was like, and this, I know this person was genuinely practicing Krishna consciousness, very genuinely, and shared with me in confidence that their child shared with them how happy they were to see positive changes in their life. Now, whether the child takes it up in their life or not is a different matter, but the child acknowledged they saw some very nice changes in this person's life because of his sincere practice of Krishna consciousness. So it leaves a mark, definitely leaves a mark. It's a long journey. It's not a, like a flip of a coin that they will change. So have patience. You keep doing your spiritual practice very, very seriously, and pray to Krishna very sincerely that he changes their heart. Lord Krishna can do anything in the flip of a coin. You and I cannot, but he can. Okay. And if, encourage them to come to the Bhagavad Gita class or read Bhagavad Gita. Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita is very easy, very simple manner he has presented very nicely. First time you can just read the translations. Then later on you can read the purports also. So slowly encourage them to read Bhagavad Gita or go to a Bhagavad Gita class. We do a lot of classes. So like that, they can, take advantage of all these resources. But reading a Bhagavad Gita is only for understanding. Encourage them to apply it, little bit apply it in their life as well. So one thing is there, realization or the inspiration to or the motivation to apply Bhagavad Gita comes by one of two ways, either by inspiration or by a shock. So inspiration means by, some kind of positive. Shock means some kind of negative. So, you inspire them. Let's all pray there is no need for a shock for them to turn to Bhagavad Gita, but you inspire them to take up Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Okay, it's almost been 1 hour. So we'll take one more question and then we'll pause. How do Vrindavan Vasis feel so much love for Krishna? So that's the title I have given. The question was, I am going through the Lord Krishna lifts the Govardhan Hill recordings. So that's episode of the lifting of Govardhan Hill. And I felt that Vrindavan Vasis are so lucky to see Lord Krishna continuously for 7 days. They did not feel any cold or hunger or sleep or worry about their home or any other material attachments to their belongings, because they are with Krishna, which is higher than anything. Very nice. Would you like to hear how they felt? Yes, I would like to hear. I think what you meant is, you would like to know how they felt. Is there any deeper explanation? How also they all love Lord Krishna more than their own sons. Yes. As a beginner, I am still trying to understand and feel that in my heart. Well, that's true. Even I am trying to feel that. I feel so grateful for the Vrindavan Vasis and wanted to feel their happiness. Oh my God. So feeling the mood or the happiness of Vrindavan Vasis is a very, very, very high, exalted, advanced stage of bhakti, prema bhakti, which is very, very high level. So I have no experience of it. I do not even have a theoretical experience or theoretical understanding, let alone practical experience. Very, very far. So yes, you are writing that you would like to know how they felt and this and that. It's a gradual journey, spiritual journey, the journey of bhakti. That realization will come sooner or later, depending on your advancement and your speed or progress in bhakti. Start with the process of Vaidhi Sadhan Bhakti, by the rules and regulations and the process of bhakti, which is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. And we just started today a new series, not a series, mini series, probably 2 or 3 classes we will do on Navadha Bhakti, the 9 processes of devotional service, amongst which the most important one is Kirtanam and Shravanam. So start there, slowly and slowly you will reach higher and higher levels, and hopefully you will come to know the mood of the Vrindavan Vasis. That's a very, very, very high mood and comes at the stage of Bhava and Prema, the stage of Raga, the Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. And it's a very high stage of bhakti. Don't be in a rush to get there. Be consistent. Remember, S cubed. Serious, sincere, and steady. Steadily keep doing your Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Vaidhi means by the rules and regulations. Chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra for at least 2 hours every day, 16 rounds that is. Following the 4 regulative principles, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita every day, and developing good qualities in your consciousness, in your being, coming to the mode of goodness. Continue to do this and Lord Krishna will show you the way. Hopefully one day you will be able to see and realize the mood of the Vrindavan Vasis. Do not rush. I do not have any better answer. Now Lord Krishna gives, if you want to get some sense, or Shukadev Goswami gives the mood of the mentions about the mood of the Vrajvasis in various places in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Various acharyas have written commentaries, including obviously Srila Prabhupada has written up to chapter 13, and then his disciples completed the rest of the 10th canto. And previous acharyas like Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has written great, wonderful commentaries. Srila Sanatan Goswami has written commentaries on Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto. So through the 10th canto, their commentaries, we can get some sense of the mood of the Vrindavan vasis. But don't be in a rush. You can get a sense of it, but it's very hard to internalize it or realize it, even theoretically, I would say. Read Srimad Bhagavatam in sequence. Start from first canto, keep going in sequence. At least don't jump into 10th canto directly. You can read the Krishna book, which Srila Prabhupada has presented, which is a summary study of the 10th canto. That one you can read immediately. And like this, slowly and slowly, you will get an understanding of the mood of Rajvasis. So we will pause here. So there are more questions which we'll cover in a subsequent video. It has been 1 hour. So we will pause here and we will resume with the remaining questions in the next episode. Thank you so much. Thank you for all these wonderful questions. Thank you for your sincerity, all your absorption in Bhagavad Gita, in Srimad Bhagavatam, in all these lectures, Govardhan Hill and Ajamil, Power of the Holy Name, so on and so forth. Thank you so much for your interest. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.